My name is Annica Wallenbro Stojcevski, and I work at Microsoft in Sweden, leading our cloud and AI business. As you are tuned in to Data Innovation Summit, you're already well aware of the superpowers that data can give us. Almost every company and organization are aware, and many of them are also good in gathering lots of data already. But too often I see that it's done in silos, data locked up in different applications and not sharing data across the organization. I also see organizations that are struggling with time-consuming processes and legacy IT infrastructure that are blocking them from becoming truly data-driven. These are topics that are close to heart to mine, and therefore I'm so honored to welcome you to this session with Electrolux, sharing their story on how they transform core business analytics processes to better serve their business stakeholders with evergreen insights. Please enjoy.
Hello, I am Siddharth Kumar, and I'll be presenting together with my colleague Meha Saxena. So, unleashing the power of cloud-scale analytics for business efficiency with AI. So, the agenda for today is a company overview, and then we will share the business challenges that we were facing, and after that, we'll go over to the solution and what the end product was. So, Electrolux is a leading global appliance company that has shaped living for the better for more than 100 years. So if you look at the statistics, you can see that for year 2019, we had approximately 119 billion SEK in sales, and we reached out to 120 markets in the world, and we sold 60 million products during that year, and we are approximately 51,000 employees. So if we go to the business challenges, so we work in a structure where we have Europe and then the different regions. So we're working on the European level. So what we saw was that the time to market for analytics was too long. As soon as we closed a month, there was a few days where people were basically preparing the data and shaping it so that they could create their own analytics. So we had a lot of people actually spending time in data gathering rather than actually in the whole analysis process. So it took around a few days just to make this happen. And what was happening was actually that people were extracting data from our current BI solution. They were extracting data, and then they were creating the pivot tables and of course the different visuals, and then they were sharing that to the wider audience. But the issue here was, of course, that if there was a master data update, then the numbers would actually change. But as the data was taken offline, the numbers were not really consistent with what we had in our current BI solution. So, and also what we realized is that there are many ways of working with data. So here in Europe, we had one way, of course. And then when we had a look at the different regions, like Nordic, Benelux, Germany, Austria, then we could see that actually they all had their own kind of solution. So some actually extracted the data and put it into an Access database. Some just put that into Excel files, and some used a local SQL database to store the data and use it for the analytics. And Electrolux has had a lot of data actually, but they're also spread out in a lot of places. So we actually have very valuable data, but they were everywhere. So what we tried to do here is to consolidate them. So we could see that we had a bit of, we had some data that that was being shared here locally in Europe, but not actually being shared to the different regions. So we didn't really have a place to democratize that information. So we work with a lot of details, and these details were actually very much something that we here on Europe were using but we couldn't really share them in a very good manner to our regions. So all this was causing a lot of inefficiency for us, and we thought of how we could actually approach this and make it better. So vision was business transformation by democratizing data and embedding AI in our key finance processes. So this was our vision. And of course, as we are a big organization, it was also time to not only look at how we structure the data and how we work with it, but also change the role of a business analyst. So we were starting off with the analyst working as more of a reporter. So working more as a person that is supplying the data, trying to get the data out and then share it with the wider audience. So what we're trying to do here is that we wanted to change it. So instead of being a person that goes in and takes out data and shares it with a wider audience, but to actually work as an advisor. So not spend time only on the gathering data, but actually look at the numbers, come with the advice, and actually have a stake in the business and provide suggestions to actually change the dynamics of how we work in the company. So if we look at the current team that we had, so we started off the Center of Excellence here in Business Area Europe by having business analysts and management information specialists in the team. So the business analyst role here was to provide insight and to give advice and commentary based on the data we actually had. And then we also had the management information specialist. And their role here was to be an in-between IT and the business, and to work more on the solutions that we have to ensure that we have the proper solution, basically. So in order to actually to take the next step, we said, what are we actually missing here? Because these things are really good, but then we're also missing something. IT skilled people. So we changed the structure. So we're actually sitting in the business. So, but what we did here is that we all actually took in people working in, more IT skilled people to actually sit in the business. And the reason for that was, if you're an IT skilled person and you can actually see the challenges that we face, then you also have a wider spectra to basically see if there is a way to solve these issues. So we brought in this team, so with IT people, of course, business analysts, and the management information specialist, to really see how we can create a better organization and actually create better solutions for the company. So then it was more about designing the solutions. So we knew what the issues were. So now it was more about coming up with a solution that would actually fit the organization. So what we did is that we actually didn't focus so much on the technology, but rather the end users. So we actually put them in the driving seat to see what kind of solution we should have. And we wanted to, of course, leverage the knowledge that we actually have in the organization. So we know that if the threshold is too high, people will not actually adopt to a new solution. And it was to go away from being in a situation where data is mostly locked for the users and to free it up for them, to change it so that they can actually put their own local needs incorporated with the enterprise data. So when designing the solution, we said, okay, we need to have a very powerful engine, and then we also need to have a very good user interface that makes this happen. So when it comes to the user interface, it became Power BI, and we went for the cloud solution here, so Power BI Premium. And the reason for that was that Power BI Premium has a dedicated capacity, and that ensures us the the processing and the performance. And it also has this collaborative space, so we can actually work with a wider audience and actually collaborate at the same time. And then, of course, it's the security as well here. So, and Power BI is more about us leveraging the skills of the users. So we all know that within finance and actually most of the organizations, people are very accustomed to Excel. So we knew that if we have Excel in our solution, that'd be an easy way to get in the users to our solution. And Power BI is very much an operational tool and not only a dashboard tool. And it is the absolute best tool we could find for a managed self-service concept. And of course, it's also highest ranked in the Gartner Magic Quadrant. So when it came to the engine, we then went for Azure, and then we connected those two. And I will now leave it to my colleague, Meha.
Thanks, Sid. So let's look at the solution. So as Sid mentioned, we need to have a powerful front end because that's the requirement from the user, and that requires a strong backend. So we put a lot of effort and emphasis on building a strong backend, which gives flexibility as well as good performance to the end user. Cloud being the obvious choice because it gives us a lot of flexibility. Like we can do a quick spin up of technologies. So as an example here, we have mentioned one of the use case where we wanted to test one particular technology, and that was on-prem, and just to get the installation done, it would require 6 weeks versus on cloud POC. It was done in 2 hours, and we knew that this is going to work. So there were a lot of examples like this, which helped us to make quick decisions and not wait for some installation, etc. to be done. Of course, it gives us an opportunity to have a fail-fast methodology. We have tested a lot of options and know which one works for us and which doesn't. And also it gives a flexibility in the cost management. We can switch off, switch on the technologies as per the requirement, and that really helps reduce the cost. It was a very small development team of a few people, and the development itself was quite quick. Now, since we have our integrated data model, we have frequent and automated data refresh in a centralized and secure data platform, because security is the most important part of this solution. Even if we have the whole data set residing in one place, people see only their specific data and not everything else. And of course, they are working with very large data set. Currently, they are almost working with 1.7 billion records on real time, and it's getting updated every day. So this is just to show you a little bit about the journey. We started at around end of June last year, and by beginning of November, even after so many redesigns and testing of different technologies, in the beginning of November, we had our first go live, where we did the end user training. Of course, a lot of focus was on certain user groups. So that's why November till January was open only for those people. And since January 2020, the solution is live for everyone in the finance organization. So this is the solution overview. We have a lot of data sources, as you can see on the left-hand side of this screen. And here we have Excel. The main source is SAP BW. And then we have SQL servers, some on-prem servers, local servers, etc. But the main data resides in SAP BW. That was again one challenge, because SAP licensing is usually a bit tricky to work with. But with the help of Data Factory and the internal knowledge that we had related to licensing, we could extract the data from SAP BI. And Data Factory is quite helpful in connecting to any of the source systems. It has a lot of connectors, and it helps us connect to any of the system and extracts the data in a very efficient manner. The first layer is a blob storage, and then with some internal transformations, we have Azure Synapse, previously known as Azure SQL Data Warehouse. And then we use Azure Analysis Services, and then finally Power BI Service Premium Capacity is used for sharing and collaboration between the users. And Azure Analysis Services gives us a couple of advantages, being it has the security inbuilt, and we just use all the security that we need to be placed in Azure Analysis Services, and that helps in keeping keeping all the data in one data model. We don't have to split everything into multiple data sets. Okay, so what was the result? The result was quite clear. We have the possibility to analyze the data on all dimensions now, including both product and customer level, which was not possible earlier. And here is one example where people used to take a lot of data, gathering from different sources. For 5 KPIs only on product level, it used to take 3 days. Now it just takes like 10 minutes with all the KPIs. It's an easy integration with SAP as well as other data sources. So we have one data platform integrated with all the different sources. And of course, as Sid mentioned, the part of our vision was improvement within the organization structure, where the business users and the business analysts can improve and learn on their existing knowledge. And this is what they are doing right now. Many people, the transition from Excel to Power BI is very easy. So this is done, what we just discussed, and now we have shifted our focus from operational reporting to advanced analytics. So there are a couple of use cases which are ongoing related to determine the drivers for high margin products. We have a lot of product attributes, and we would like to combine them to see which ones are the drivers for high margin. And this is something which is going on. Of course, we have a very long budget process, and if we can automate and improve some of the processes within that cycle, that'll be really helpful as well. Sentiment analysis of consumer ratings. We had the financial data before, but the consumer ratings were in a different place. So now we have the opportunity to combine them and do some more analysis based on the ratings. Chatbots, there are a lot of different questions being asked every year, every day to many people. And if we can use chatbots instead, which can answer the questions quickly, then it will free up the time from the people. And of course, automated commentary. This one is live. So we started looking, this was the first initiative in our organization where we wanted to get rid of the commentary where people write the different comments and the data is changing every minute. So they had to change all the comments again. So how about we automate the whole commentary feature? And this is working quite well in the organization now. So this is it from our side. Thank you very much.